Tennessee Lottery. How we doing, everyone? And welcome back to another edition of NASCAR's DFS Pick Show. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Ruler 31 for the Tennessee Lottery 250, 180 laps for the Xfinity Series at Nashville. Mega, how did you do today? And are you looking forward to another weekend of racing?
I don't know. I was looking forward to this race, and then qualifying, you had two guys failed tech, so they were at the back, and John Hunter Nemechek didn't drive the right direction around the track. Like he started to qualify, and then he backed off, didn't take the green flag, but instead of taking pit road, he drove backwards around the track, so he threw out his time. So he had three obvious guys that were chalk, and
Yeah.
I faded one of them because I just didn't want to be like everyone, and I faded the wrong guy. And in that lineup that I did play him, I had the one guy who blows an engine and goes out of the race. So it's just disaster. But we have two more chances here. So
And so it goes, DFS. And the fun part about NASCAR DFS is there is another day, another series to attempt. And we are going to try and do what we did yesterday, where we're going to go through the field and break down these drivers and their projections, but without a starting position, and just give you guys the feel for who we think can dominate this race, who sets up well on this track. Mega, just be so kind to explain to some of the new listeners what we're looking at here on your screen.
Well, basically, they did have a practice. So I used their practice position for their speed as their qualifying position. Then I took a composite average of their running positions at certain tracks that apply. So I took Darlington, I took Dover, I took Atlanta, because Darlington and Dover are similar type tracks, and Atlanta is a high tire wear track. So looks like the tires were eating up a little bit on this race today. Seemed like passing wasn't too much of an issue. Doesn't seem like it's a multi-groove track. There was no speedy dry or any of that weird stuff down up on the top to try to create two things. Sometimes they were 3-4 wide. There were no wrecks besides like one minor incident with Derek Kraus got bumped and ended up in the wall. But other than that, it was pretty clean race. Like we said, if you watch the truck preview, we looked at it and they haven't been here in 10 years. So sorry if you haven't, if you didn't watch the truck one, this is a track they haven't been to in a decade. So most of these drivers have never seen this track. It's a quarter-mile track. It's solid concrete. Actually, a little bit less. It's 1.33333 to but it's a concrete track. It seemed to be decent. It wasn't like as rough as Darlington. It didn't chew them up as bad as Atlanta, but it has some of the same elements. So I think, I'm looking forward to this race. I think there's going to be some good racing, and it was exciting to see on an older track that they could go out there and it wasn't a parade.
Yeah, it was some good passing and some good laps, for some competitive racing, and that's always fun to see, especially in the truck series. Tomorrow we have the Xfinity Series, and let's start with Kyle Busch in this field. This is a Cup driver, typically the dominator when he comes down to the lower levels. Coming off of a win at Texas, Kyle Busch, a lock and load tomorrow?
I don't know. I'll just have to see. I'm assuming he's going to get the pole just based on where he qualified. So I think, yeah, he's probably going to, if he gets the pole, then he's probably going to get out there and dominate. I don't really see many people challenging him to get around him. It's not like there's a John Hunter Nemechek in this series. It all depends on where the other guys qualify, if they can get to him fast enough to get around him. So we'll just have to see on that. So he's been like 16,000 in some of the races this year. So 14.5 is high, but not as high where I might say fade. So I'm on the fence, most likely, but not sure. What are your thoughts?
Definitely going to be playing Kyle Busch tomorrow. 14.5 is not too expensive, like you said. And yeah, he's just, one of the fastest drivers in when it comes to the Xfinity Series, and I don't see anything kind of standing in his way. I don't think anyone's kind of separated themselves with speed to keep up with his driving abilities. So
The only one
when
beat Ty Gibbs, and he's in his car. So
yeah, pretty much. So it's basically Kyle Busch. If we can find a way to fit him, and qualifying will be a big factor tomorrow. If we can get some value plays that we'll probably talk about later in this video, if we can get some of them starting in the back half of the field and get some finishing position along with some place differential, then it's going to be easier to fit Kyle Busch in cash games and things like that. But if we come into this race tomorrow with no clear cut value, I think it sets up pretty well for him and GVPs as well. So yeah, definitely play Kyle Busch. We're not going to be the guys to tell you not to, especially since he's kind of in the form the way he is.
actually, I was looking through to see if like he actually raced, and this the last time they were there in 2011, but he actually wasn't in the field. Carl Edwards won the race.
Wow.
Started, and this is the same thing that we saw with the truck race when we looked at the results. The top 3 drivers all started within the top 6. There's third or sixth and fourth. So Keselowski started on the pole, he finished 12th. Let's see if there was, oh wow. Same thing as the truck race. And this is weird because we only saw like 2 cars out mechanically with this race, but they started 43 cars and only 30 of them finished the race. We had a clutch, an overheat, suspension, fuel pump, transmission, brakes, alternator.
Yeah, so it's going to be
what was going on in 2011? Were they like buying parts at Dollar General or?
Yeah, not sure, but definitely a race where we're going to have to lean on some of the better more expensive, more equipped teams than the lower level guys. Next up, we have Harrison Burton. Any love for another Gibbs car here in the 20 for Harrison Burton?
I don't know how to take him here because, we've talked about his struggles and he's been underwhelming. But here, maybe with practice and actually qualifying, he'll end up doing better. Like Kyle Busch is his teammate. However, sure, maybe if he does, then he starts too high and you don't want to play him there because like what if he starts second, like he's not going to round Busch. So if he doesn't finish second, he's going to start losing your points. And do you really see him like getting fastest laps or leading this?
I mean, probably not leading.
He'd need to start like at least 6th or worst.
Yeah.
Better if he's
I mean, I would have to agree. I think Harrison Burton probably best if he's starting in the back half of the top 10, but certainly a guy that's been better of late.
Well, his
composite's
like
actually good average run position.
The second lowest though on these tracks. So I guess like he's really had his struggles on the road courses and on the super speedways. So 1.5 maybe.
Yeah, I certainly think he is in play heading into tomorrow. Next up, we have AJ Allmendinger. Colleague Racing just announced today that they're going to take on another or 2 of the Spire NASCAR spots. So we're going to have 2 guys from Colleague Racing in the NASCAR series next year. It's going to be Justin Haley, and I assume that they're going to keep Corey LaJoie on the squad. So it'll be interesting to see, and big weekend for them. Colleague Racing, maybe they're going to have
a big they're going 2, but LaJoie's keeping his Spire charter. Spire has 3; they're only selling 2. Allmendinger is going to go part-time, and then they're going to fill in the rest of them with like Kaz Grala and like a whole bunch of other guys to rotate, because AJ said that he doesn't want to go full-time in Cup. He'd like to run some of the races, but he doesn't want to win all. So that's going to be a rotating seat.
Okay, so there you have it. How about AJ Allmendinger in tomorrow's race? Pretty having a pretty good season.
Yeah. I think he's okay here. I think he's a top 5 car. It all depends on where he qualifies. Obviously, he did pretty good to have the number 3 speed. So I think 10K is gonna be hard to get in with like Kyle Busch though. So I don't think he's the priority. There's another 10K guy that I would looking at that I would if I'm playing two guys over 10K that I'd go with. So no problem with him. If you fade Busch, then definitely I'm more on him, but I just think the pricing might be hard to swallow.
I would have to agree. Daniel Hemrick next up for the Joe Gibbs team. He is coming in at 9,300. Looks like he's got some decent composite numbers. And how did he fare on the 10-lap average? I think he was pretty high up.
I don't remember. I saw the overalls, but I didn't see some of the 10s. So sorry, didn't do my homework.
Daniel Hemrick finished out 4th overall, and Harrison Burton was 3rd, and Allmendinger was 2nd when it came to some of the final practice 10-lap average. Cindric rounds out that top 5. So I think Daniel Hemrick, maybe not a bad play. It looks like Gibbs has a lot of speed. I'm seeing Toyotas at the front.
Yeah, it's like he just can never win it. He like is always there, but he just can't get over that final hurdle. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, we have Austin Cindric, Team Penske. Looks like he is coming into this event as the second highest expensive driver at 11K. I don't mind Cindric. He's obviously one of the better drivers in this series. I just don't fade Austin Cindric. I mean, most of these guys we're talking about here in this top 5, it depends on where Burton, Hemrick, and maybe Allmendinger start. But when it comes to Busch and Cindric, these are two guys I don't fade.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to play him though. But if he John Hunter Nemechecks it and ends up like starting 30 or something, then obviously. But I really think if you're on Cindric, you can't play Busch. Like just the money that they leave you, you're going to be playing Kyle Weatherman, Timmy Hill, Ryan Vargas, and Jesse Little as the rest of your lineup.
I mean, I when I say fade, I mean, I play one or the other. I definitely wouldn't be playing both in the same lineup. Cindric probably always, depending on where these two are going to start, it's going to be one or the other in cash, and then the other I just play in my GPP just because I think they're the two best drivers in the series. But obviously, a lot of that can change heading into qualifying tomorrow. But yeah, these 5 drivers always good. So hopefully they get some good starting positions or some, back end of the starting positions. So we'll see. Josh Berry is an up and coming star in this Xfinity Series. We've been playing quite a bit of him. He's been driving in all 3 series lately, getting a lot of exposure. So it's pretty cool to see for Josh Berry.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on him?
I don't mind him. He's got a good car. He did decent. Got a penalty and had to move to the back, but he moved his way up pretty quickly. So I like him. Top 10.
Yeah. Not bad. I could see it. Any love for Riley Hurst or Brandon Jones?
Brandon Jones just he's had a couple better races recently, but I still not, out of all the Gibbs cars, he's the one that I just don't want to play. Riley Herbst, if he botches qualifying, then yes. I mean, he's just done so bad this year that he's priced so far down. He's 7.6. So if he's 7.6, he's got a really good car. He's got a really good team. So, and he's okay. So if he starts like 15th or worse, yes.
Yeah. All about the starting position for Riley Hurst. Brandon Jones is a boomer bust play. Typically not a guy I play. I think 8,200 is just too expensive. Tommy Joe Martin's at 6,300. I think you could play Tommy Joe. I think it just depends on where he starts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's Austin Wayne Self, and Austin Wayne Self started way down and actually was a great play in cash. So
yeah,
same guy, just different name and series.
Pretty much. Definitely played some Austin Wayne Self today. Probably going to play some Tommy Joe. Hopefully he starts in the back half of the.
Yeah, if he starts up the top 20, then that's where we want to play him.
especially at that number 6,300. Ryan Sieg 73. I don't mind Sieg. It just depends. A lot of unknowns in a track like this at Nashville, and Sieg is Mr. Unknown himself. You don't really know what to expect. I think the price tag is a selling point. They were pricing this guy so far up the pricing for the longest time, and now they finally brought him back down to earth. And I don't mind squeaking him into a lineup or two if I feel like he's in a good spot.
Well, he's affiliated with the team that was won the race, and his son finished second. So he's affiliated with David Gillian. So I think, maybe some of the stuff will transfer over into here. Obviously, something's going right. He had top 10 in speed.
Yeah, I
And
don't
since they
mind that.
fired the crew chief, they've done much better in the last 5 races than they did previous in the year. So yeah, definitely he's somebody that's on my radar.
Next up, we have Myatt Snyder for Richard Childress Racing. I like playing Myatt Snyder. He let me down last week, so I got a little sour taste in my mouth from him. What are your thoughts on Myatt Snyder?
Depends where he starts. Didn't he do really? Did he win Darlington? Or I can't remember which race he won, but he did. I think he won on one of the 1.5 mile ones. So
let's check that real quick. Myatt Snyder won at Homestead.
no, that's a 1.5 track. Much different complexity to it. It's not a high tire wear. It's not concrete. It's not a skill track. But yeah, if he's starting outside the top 15, I like it for the price.
Next up, we have Noah Gragson. Everybody loves to not play Noah Gragson. That is a no from Mega. I think,
I always play him in GPP, but I could never ever conceive playing him in cash. He's just
I agree.
Reckless.
I would have to agree. GVP, and he is definitely a guy that can botch qualifying. So carefully weigh all options when you're rostering.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to go do the John Hunter Nemechek and probably go back down to trucks and run that for a little bit, and then maybe come back up and see what happens.
Certainly hasn't made any friends in this series, that's for sure. So maybe some change of scenery would be nice for him. Next up, though, we have probably one of my favorite drivers in the field outside of Kyle Busch, and that is Justin Allgaier. And he is a guy that had won at Atlanta. He loves higher tire wear tracks. That's his jam. Going to have quite a bit of Allgaier regardless of where he starts tomorrow.
His composite scores third. I have him finishing top 5. So I know he's only 13th in speed here, but I think he's definitely a great play tomorrow. I don't think he's going to beat Kyle, but if I'm paying up, he's the guy that if I'm paying for another 10K guy that I'd make the consideration for. Unless he's
absolutely next up
2, 3, 4, 5. I'm hoping he's starting outside the top 5 because that would be kind of hard. Because I don't know if he'd get enough fast laps or laps led, but I definitely like him this year, and I think he's taken over Cindric as probably the top driver in the series.
Yeah, it's been them 3. Cindric's kind of falling off a little bit, but all guys hitting his stride. Might be racing for a championship. So next up we have Austin Hill in the 61. Hattori Racing. Any love for Austin Hill? It looks like a little too high of a price tag, but unless he has a good car, I might be in.
Well, the Hattori car is good, and he did really well in the truck race tonight. So I'm in on him again, hoping he qualifies 15th, or I think he's got a top 15 car. So I like him 20th to 25th in qualifying. I think that would be the sweet spot.
Next up, we have Justin Haley in Colleague Racing. He's had some pretty big news over the past 24 hours. 8,500. Definitely a car I need to see starting in the 8 to 16 range. even then it's kind of a stretch, but I don't mind him outside of the top 10 starting.
I don't know. I think he might be so excited about like having like established his cup ride and stuff that he might just completely lose focus in Xfinity. Like he's been up there in the top 10 every so often, but I really don't think he's done a lot this year. Composite scores 9, so like the car is good. He's got some talent if he blows qualifying his way down, but 85, I just don't think he's going to be in my budget range. I'm going to be looking for probably the 7K guys. Herbst, Snyder, Grayson. I think he's a little bit too much he's like kind of in no man's land for where I'm looking for pricing.
Yeah, I don't mind Haley. Like I said, hopefully starting outside the top 10. Next up, we have Will Rogers, Sam Hunt Racing. Any knowledge or thoughts on this guy?
Other than he might, if we're doing the Xfinity ban like we talked about last night, I think that he'd be a good. He might be the base player in this one.
Yeah.
Either that or open up a restaurant chain. I don't know. But
I don't know much about him.
It's an okay car. He raced in Xfinity. I think he's had like a couple of years off, but he hasn't been bad. He was like top anywhere like 15 to 20th, so he's not a bottom feeder. It all depends, like 16th in qualifying. So I think at his price, he's worth it at a dart, especially if he starts down. He's not starting in park, and he's going to actually try to run this race.
Yeah, you could take that away from the way he practiced today. Jeb Burton, another Colleague Racing car in the 10. Hopefully you get a good starting spot on Jeb Burton. Otherwise, place differential. I mean, he's not a dominator. It's all place differential with him.
Yeah, and I think his struggles here are good. And if he starts, 15th to 20th, he's got a top 10 car. So yeah, someone that I would consider. But again, he's just a little bit too expensive. I'm looking for 7K guys.
Here's one right here, Brett Moffitt in the 02 car. Any love for him?
7K guys other than Brett Moffitt.
So for Brett Moffitt. Yeah.
I don't know at all. If he starts 25th or worse, yes. If for some reason like he just doesn't nail qualifying, because we know he can get up into the top 20, yes. But I think he'd have to start back further for me to consider him.
He's going to be the one with the blown engine, that's for sure. Or it's either going to be him or this next driver, Tyler Reddick, in the 31 for Jordan Racing.
Jordan Anderson's not a bad one. I don't know. I kind of like Tyler
I'm just tilted off the Byron blown engine.
Yeah, I know, but Tyler Reddick is more like Ross Chastain in this series than he is like William Byron, I think.
Yeah.
And Chastain did okay. There was some place differential there. He didn't qualify. We'll have to see. Like 18th is kind of disappointing, but he's going to have cup practice tomorrow. Like he's going to have a lot of time to see this track before they actually race.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think that the cup racing beforehand, he's going to have a little bit of advantage. So will Kyle Busch. Kyle Weatherman in the 47 racing for Mike Harmon. I am out.
Yeah, that all depends. If he starts down on the bottom just because he has bad qualifying, it's probably a 30th place car. So if he starts below 30th, I think he's okay.
Yeah, I had enough of him last weekend to know that it is. I mean, 4,900 is, what draws you to him, but I just don't see upside in this car. Other than that, we have JJ Yaley in this SS Greenlight racing machine. It's done pretty well this year. 6,700 is not too expensive either.
He actually kicked a guy out of his truck
I was curious about that.
That was kind of weird. Like all of a sudden he ended up in the truck race, but he didn't qualify. But but he
No,
did
I
get
saw
a
him in
little bit.
practice.
Yeah, he did get some practice and stuff. He wasn't horrible. And I think he was really close to qualifying. I think just other guys got in on owner points. So he's intriguing. The price at 67, I like it. He's probably about a 21st place driver. So if he starts 25th or worse, yes.
Next up, we have Jeremy Clements in the 51. This is a driver I roster week in, week out, but usually he qualifies too high. So
You want to know something funny? Jeremy Clements actually raced at this track the last time.
oh, I like
He
that. I
started
like to hear
27th.
that.
He finished 21st.
I hope we can do something,
And he was in the same
27.
51 car.
All right, duplicate that performance. Just finish maybe like 17th. Can be 10
Yes.
place differential points wherever you start. And I know if he starts anywhere inside the top 16, 17, that's not going to happen. So we need a good qual from Clements. I'm keeping my eye on that 6,900. All right, we have a couple guys here in a row. I'm going to
You
lump
want to know
them
what's else is
together.
funny? You know who finished behind Jeremy Clements in that race?
Is it Timmy Hill?
Yes, it was.
There you go.
He started 22nd. He finished 22nd. Jeremy.
Yeah, 13 machine, 4,700. So you in on Timmy Hill?
He was in the truck race, wasn't he? Yeah, and but that truck program isn't as good as this one. Yeah, I think he's got a major sponsor. I think he's definitely in it. It's still the car's a little bit questionable. MBM Motorsports isn't the greatest, but at his price, I think it's somebody that has talent, that's been here before, that has seen the track in another series. So yeah, I think he definitely can get into the top 20.
Next up, we have Jade Buford, Big Machine Racing, 5,500. Usually this guy qualifies too high, and I don't think the results are going to be there for him.
Yeah, I'm not in on. I think the next three guys I would probably.
That is David Starr, Stephen Parsons. I actually saw quite a bit of ownership on Stephen Parsons last week. Really shocked me. I don't know. I think there's somebody out there.
It must have been like one of those chalky builds, and you had that much left, and he was the only guy to pick in the range. So
it's either that or somebody's been telling somebody else to use Stephen Parsons, and I just don't think that's a smart choice. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't roll like that.
No, 6,100 too.
Some people in the industry, like they try to push them towards certain plays, but not us.
No, we're always subjective to what the what the salary and what the slate dictates is what we play. Try to have that unbiased. Next up, we have Michael Annett in the 1. Any love?
You always say love, but I don't know. He's right on the cusp of what I want. He's a bit too high, but I consider him.
Okay.
If he definitely starts down, he's got a top 15 program. His composite is 14.37. So if he starts below 20th, absolutely. I will try to find the money for him because I like him better than probably Sieg or Snyder, or definitely more than Brett Moffitt.
Yeah, I like Michael Annett heading into tomorrow. I like his setup. Him and Justin Allgaier are going to be some of the more predominant names in my lineup. I'm really hoping I can get a good good qualifying run from him, see him in the nice, 29th position in qualifying so I can get some place differential. This next guy usually qualifies too high. That is Brandon Brown. But
he doesn't. He's a lock.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy is consistent. He's one that you're just like, why would I ever play Brandon Brown? He's starting 10th. There's no way he's going to stay there. But you look at the tracker and he's like 9th, 10th, 9th, 10th, 9th, 10th. He's like glued there. He's like stuck to the position. Yeah. Like everything else, he's like the sun and everything else revolves around him, but he stays in that position. So
Yeah, I like
I
Brandon
definitely
Brown
like him.
tomorrow.
If he qualifies below 15th tomorrow, then I'm definitely like him. He's in my price range. He's showed
Yeah.
me this year that he knows what he's doing. Good program. The cars only had like one mechanical failure, so I like it.
I got to agree with you. Next up, we have Bailey Curry.
Fringe.
Cringe, no
No, I
love.
said fringe.
Oh, fringe. I thought you said cringe. I was gonna say 5,900 is not terrible. If he's starting in the back half of the
He's like
30s.
JJ Yaley and like Timmy Hill. Like he races in like every single series and like whatever random ride he can get in. So I mean, he's definitely gonna get the miles in. I don't know. It all depends. He's just like the other guy you said, Jay Buford, that seems to always qualify too high, so you can never play him.
Yeah. Ryan Vargas, Colby Howard, Jeffrey Earnhardt, any of these names pique your interest?
I'm not.
Don't
Not
say Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Jeffrey Earnhardt's usually solid, so if he's that far back, then potentially I'd consider him.
I don't play Jeffrey Earnhardt. I don't like it. Dylan Bassett though, he did okay last week. Any love for Dylan Bassett?
I don't know. He's just really little experience, so
Yeah, he is a fresh prospect, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're getting there with him. Next up, we have Jesse Little, another BJ McLeod Motorsports. Not the same Jesse Little we've been used to, that's for sure.
No. He just can't keep the speed this year.
Yeah. Next up, we have Landon Castle, JD Motorsports in the 4. It's surprising to see him come in with some really low speed numbers.
Well,
Typically,
he switched again. He was in the back? 6. Now he's back in the 4.
We have to maybe consider Vargas.
Yes.
Yep. Especially because now he's priced as the number 4 car, driving in the 6.
Yes.
Good catch, 4,500. Vargas going to be on the radar for sure as the punt. Him or Timmy Hill, depending on who qualifies worse. That would be my assessment of that situation. Chad Fincham.
No.
Couldn't keep a straight face. Alex
he might not even qualify.
He probably won't. Alex Labay.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a top 25 car if he starts below 25th. Yes.
I would have to agree. Alex Labay in a good spot. Josh Williams. We have ruined this guy's career.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He was running inside the top 15 for so many races, and then we were like, you know what?
We're not playing him anymore, and he lost his mojo.
Yeah, we jumped on the bandwagon for Josh Williams. Like, oh yeah, this guy's consistent. He hasn't wrecked, no DNFs. 3 straight races out. Ruined his career, Mega. I mean, that's crazy.
You know what? I will play him tomorrow in GPP. He'll be the first guy in. I don't care if he gets the pole.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got to do something to reverse this for this poor guy. I mean, yes. he has just been reeling of late, and it's all our fault.
Josh, I will play you tomorrow. We will get you back on track.
Yeah. Joe Groff Jr., he's always pretty popular amongst the industry.
Yeah.
Too pricey.
It depends on where he qualifies. If he qualifies like top 15, no.
Yeah. Mills is a no for me.
I don't even know if he'll qualify.
Yeah, Galding's always a no for me. Natalie Decker.
This one's interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't dismiss it quickly.
She's not Jennifer Jo Cobb. Like she's
gonna try. Like, look, she's gonna try to race. Right. She's not starting in parking. Like she's there to do.
The car's decent, and like Ford's did really well in the truck race tonight. So
she's a Southern girl. She's gonna try to race hard, and I can respect that. But obviously, that might not, equate excuse me, to some talent.
Yeah, if she qualifies like 16th, absolutely not. But if she's anywhere below 25th, yes.
Yeah.
You think 25th is like where the line is?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe even a little bit more.
30th.
Yeah, 30th or something back. I would think about it. Yeah, well, that'll wrap things up for the field. I think we got a pretty good gist on each of the drivers to get you started before we head into qualifying tomorrow. Little earlier race, this was a night race today, but it's going to be during the day. So join us in the Discord and you can get the core lineups and then all of Mega's projections heading into the lead up of this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am TK Nation 47. That is Mega Rule 31. Mega, any last thoughts?
Nope. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll do one tomorrow for the Cup race.
Yep, absolutely. Like and comment below, and we will see you then.